Hi everybody, my name is Christine and I am one of the admins from the PSSM and MFM Awareness group. If you happen to have stumbled across this video and you're wondering what on earth PSSM or MFM is, then head over to our Facebook group by clicking the link below. In today's video, we will be discussing PSSM and MFM symptoms at the canter. We will be explaining why these symptoms occur, the possible canter problems these horses will encounter, along with showing you video examples of affected horses experiencing these canter issues. Let's get started. One thing we all know is that PSSM and MFM causes a whole range of canter problems. But why is this? As you can see in this video here, the canter is a 3-beat gait. First comes the outside hind leg, next the inside hind leg and outside foreleg, followed by the inside foreleg and a moment of suspension. Sounds easy, right? Not for a PSSM or MFM horse. The canter requires the most engagement out of all the gaits, and if we add a rider into the equation asking the horse to work into a certain frame, the canter becomes an even more demanding task as we are asking our horses to engage to the utmost of their ability. The problem for a PSSM or MFM horse lies with the second beat of the canter, which is the reaching of the inside hind leg. In order for a horse to make this inside hind leg reach, their back must be free of any tightness so the horse can round and engage. But it is this rounding of the back that causes so many canter issues for PSSM and MFM horses, especially if they are symptomatic, as they are simply not able to do this. So what sort of canter issues do these horses and their owners encounter? Number 1. Transitions. The trot to canter transition is one that a lot of horses find challenging, but for a PSSM or MFM horse, canter transitions can be a real big problem. No matter how much you set the horse up or prepare them, affected horses will really struggle with the trot to canter transition, especially if they are symptomatic or tight. This may present itself by 1. Stumbling or ambling into the transition. 2. Showing resistance by lashing out, bucking, kicking out, plunging, or throwing their heads up going into the transition. 3. Getting disunited behind. 4. Falling out of the canter almost as soon as you've asked for it. 5. Feeling strung out into the transition. This is the feeling that the front legs canter, but the back legs are still trotting and lagging behind. Let's look at some of these videos in further detail. This is Peaches, a New Forest cross mare who has PSSM1. Now, if we watch as she goes into the canter transition, we can see that little jump behind. When she's in the canter itself, she falls out of it more or less straight away. When she does get cantering again, we can see the canter is laboured and taking quite a lot of effort from her. It's very on the forehand, which is quite common for a lot of these PSSM and MFM horses. Let's look at another example. Here we have Noah, a Thoroughbred Gelding with PSSM2, also known as MFM. He has Variant 2 and 3. Now, if we look at this video, we can see he's happy in the trot, working into a contact with no problems. But as soon as the canter is asked for, he runs into it, throws his head, and canters on the wrong leg. We can see his rider bring him back and ask again. But once again, Noah canters on the wrong leg and keeps running. We can see further on in the video him really struggling to get the canter transition at all. He just keeps trotting faster and faster. Now, this isn't because he's lazy, or because his rider's asking him in the wrong way. This is simply because it's easier for Noah to trot really fast than canter, as the trot isn't asking for that same inside hind leg engagement. Number 2. Crossfiring. Crossfiring is where the horse will keep switching legs in the canter. They will often switch behind, but can also switch in front. Crossfiring can sometimes look like a horse is trotting on its back legs, but they will still be cantering on the front. Dependent on how symptomatic a horse is, depends on the amount that they crossfire. Here we have Ditsy, a cob cross Hackney mare with PSSM1. She is owned by our other admin, Rebecca. Now, as we watch Ditsy canter, we can see her keep changing legs almost continuously, as if she is skipping. You can also notice her resisting the contact and her head at a tilt, which is another common thing for these horses to do at the canter. And if we take another look at Peaches again here, we can see she's going around jumping, but she's almost cantering on the front legs and trotting on the back legs at times. This is another perfect example of crossfiring. Peaches is a fantastic jumping pony, but we can see here she's knocking a lot of poles as well because her back end is tight. Number 3. Bounding. Bounding is where a symptomatic horse will canter, bringing both hind legs underneath them at the exact same time. almost like they are bouncing on their back legs. Depending on how symptomatic a horse is, depends on whether they will bounce sporadically or continuously without stopping. Here we have Gagari, a warm blood gelding with PSSM2 Variant 4. This is a perfect example of bounding sporadically. We can see when he's cantering, his tail is starting to swish and he's really chewing on his bit. Then suddenly he starts almost bouncing behind before cantering normally again. Next we move on to Stratus, a quarter horse gelding with PSSM2 Variant 2. We can see as Stratus is going round, he is bounding constantly, and as he moves up into a gallop, it becomes even more pronounced, with both hind legs coming backwards and forwards at the exact same time. We can also see his tail swishing too. 4. Resistance to contact. You have the contact in walk and trot, but come canter, you lose it. Sound familiar? This is nothing to do with you. PSSM and MFM horses often struggle to keep the contact in the canter. They will show resistance by 1. Gnashing and gnawing at the bit. 2. Head flicking and tossing. 3. Not responding to half halts no matter how many you use. 4. Head tilting. 5. Feeling stiff or locked in a neck. Here we have my own horse, Tex. He is an American paint horse with PSSM1 and MFM Variant 3. I compete Tex in dressage and we would get a lovely contact in the walk and trot, but as soon as we cantered, we would lose it completely. As you can see, he would head nod, gnash at the bit, throw his head, go around with his head at a tilt, and at times he would go on the forehand and feel so heavy that he might actually pull me over his head. On test sheets, I would get 7s for my trot, but the canter, I'd be lucky if I got a 5. It was on a totally different level to everything else. No matter what I did, or how hard I tried, or how many lessons I had, the contact at the canter seemed an impossible task. 5. Not going forwards. Often mistaken for laziness, some PSSM and MFM horses get extremely tight in the canter. Some straight away, others get worse the more canter work that they do. In some cases, pushing a PSSM or MFM horse who is not going forwards can lead to a full tying up episode. A PSSM or MFM horse who's not going forwards will appear 1. Bunched or curled up. 2. Tight over the back. 3. Appear to be sucking back. 4. Canter slowly, looking as if they are going nowhere. 5. The canter seems laboured and a lot of effort. 6. The horse looks stiff. 7. The horse will sometimes breathe heavily and sweat profusely. Here we have another quarter horse gelding with a variant of PSSM2. If we watch him go round, we can see he's hardly moving forwards. He's almost fallen out of the canter completely, and it's taken his handler a lot of encouragement to keep him moving. And the same again here with Trico, a Pinto mare. We can see she's cantering, but nearly fallen out of the canter. She's almost crossfiring at times. And once again my own horse Tex, who we can see is moving like he's cantering through treacle. It's slow, it's pokey, it's hardly moving. To get a forwards canter out of him, it took a lot of effort from me to actually get him there and to keep him there. And last but not least, number 6, explosive behaviour or naughtiness. Some PSSM and MFM horses will try for you, despite being in pain, but others will simply refuse and tell you no when asked to canter. These horses will 1. Buck. 2. Bronk. 3. Rear. 4. Lash or kick out. 5. Plunge forwards. 6. Tank off or behave erratically because they're trying to escape the pain. Here we have Camar Don Galan, an Anglo Arab with PSSM2 Variant 2. Now if we watch him here on the lunge, he's trotting around quite happily. But when asked to canter, he explodes and begins bucking. This is because when asked to canter, his muscles have become taut and tightened. And once again we go back to Noah and we can see that he does the same thing. When cantering on the lunge, he bucks, puts his head down and begins to canter with his head at a tilt because it's uncomfortable. Now let's take a look at a ridden example. Here we have 2 Cop Town, a quarter horse with PSSM2 Variant 8. Now if we watched when asked to canter, this horse reacts explosively by going into a state of bronking, and we can see that when his owner finally does get him out of it and starts getting him to canter, He's almost fallen out of the canter completely. And there you have it, PSSM and MFM symptoms at the canter. We hope you found this video helpful, and that if you stumbled across this on YouTube, that maybe it will finally give you some answers to why your horse is struggling with the canter. We will be making more videos and blogs on all things PSSM and MFM over the coming months, so be sure to subscribe, join our Facebook group and sign up for alerts on our website. All links are in the description below. Thank you for watching.